In this video, you're going to witness me walk myself into a process where I go back into a dream that I had last night and learn what this dream was trying to show me. I guess we'll see what happens when I go into it. But if you haven't watched my video about dreams, what are dreams, why they're important, how you can work with them, I want to invite you to watch this video above. I'm going to link it in the description below too. But in this video, I'm really going to give you like a real life example of my own process from my own dream of how I work with my dreams. Last night, I remember 3 dreams, but there's one specific dream that seemed a little like this seems like a dream that I could go into, and I'll explain to you exactly why. So in the dream, I was in a dark house and there was a big male deer that made like loud noises. And I remember in the dream, I was kind of afraid of him. Like I was kind of like, whoa, how did he get in? So I went into one of the rooms and I closed the doors. And I remember thinking, how did he get in the house? And then I remember in the dream, oh, my sister and my brother-in-law, they left the house and they probably left the door like open. And so he came in. And then towards the end of the dream, I had a lot of hair on my tongue, and I started pulling it out, and I was noticing it's like attached to my tongue, and I started pulling it out, and then I woke up, okay? So then, like I shared in the other YouTube video that I shared earlier, the way that you can interpret your dreams was ChatGPT. And ChatGPT sometimes can give you how you could go further, but what I'm going to do today is not something that I learned from ChatGPT. It's something that I'm actually learned in a training once, doing a lot of dream work, and it's also something that I do with my clients. But I want to read to you what ChatGPT gave me in the interpretation of this dream. So if you haven't watched my video, I really highly recommend you to watch the video about dreams and what they are, what they come to tell us, and how you can interpret them, because this is really a powerful video that I highly recommend you if you want to take your dreams and if you want to really work with your dreams. And if you're someone who don't remember your dreams, that's okay. That's also in that video. So go ahead and watch the video. But this is the interpretation I got from ChatGPT. This dream revolves around the presence of the deer, boundaries, and something obstructing your voice or self-expression. Dark house represents the unconscious shadow work and heating emotion. You may be processing deeper layers of yourself that are not fully yet conscious. Male deer in the house. A stag often symbolizes strength, wild instinct, and spiritual authority. Its presence in the house suggests that raw, instinctual energy has entered your personal or psychological space, perhaps something you didn't invite consciously. Closing the door. This shows your desire to contain or distance yourself from this force rather than confront it. The thought that your sister and your brother-in-law left the door open suggests that external influences may have allowed this energy to enter. Hair attached to tongue. Hair represents thoughts, identity, and sometimes unprocessed emotions. Hair stuck to your tongue suggests an issue around self-expression, difficulty speaking your truth, or something unresolved in your communication that you are trying to pull out but feel attached to. I'm going to go to this bed over there, to the massage bed, and I'm going to go back into the dream and see what is there now that I'm consciously aware that I'm not in the dream, right? Because like in the dream, I didn't know that I was in a dream. It wasn't like a lucid dreaming or anything like that. Now I can go back to the dream and see what's there for me to learn. Yeah, just kind of see what's coming up. So I'm going to start with a few deep breaths just to kind of drop myself into my body. So I'm imagining myself in the house, in the dark house, behind the door after I closed the door, when I saw and heard the deer outside, and the deer is making noises. It's really interesting because I didn't remember it after I wrote the dream down, but now I'm noticing that there is a presence of a baby with me. There's like a baby boy with me. It's just like the first thing that just came up. It feels like more like me protecting the baby from the big, what seems to be angry stag. But I'm not sure if he's angry. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the baby down somewhere in a safe space. And then I'm gonna come out to meet the deer and just see what happens. And it's really interesting because I'm noticing that the door that we're behind, it's like a kitchen. So it's not like a bedroom or anything, it's a kitchen. And it feels like the deer is just in the house, like in the living room or something. That's so funny. Like, what I'm feeling now is that the stag was making all these noises because he was trying to get my attention. It was so just, he was so misunderstood in the dream. And now I'm able to feel and sense and go slower. And what I'm sensing is he's trying to get my attention. So he got my attention and I'm walking toward him. Before we're going anywhere, I'm going to ask the stag, what part are you representing? What part of me are you representing? So I'm going to give some voice to this deer and I'm just going to channel whatever's coming through. So if this deer could speak, it would say, I'm representing your wildness and your craziness, and I'm here because I want to come and show you something. I'm trying to get your attention. I want to show you something, and I'm excited, and I want to take you out into the woods and show you something that I think you'd really like. I think you would really love it. I feel like I want to grab the baby and bring the baby with me to the woods, because now that I confronted the stag, it doesn't feel dangerous anymore. It doesn't feel anything to be scared of. It actually feels really exciting. So I'm going to grab the baby and we're going out of the house into the woods. We're actually riding the stag and he's taking us somewhere. Let's see. He walked me through the path. There was a path in the woods. And then at some point he got off the path and he went towards the left side. And then there was like a bunch of trees and kind of like ups and downs, on the ground. And there's like a very low stream, like a tiny stream of water. And he went over the tiny stream of water and in between the trees. And then he stopped near to a cabin in the woods. So now I got off of him and there's a cabin and he's directing me to go into the cabin. So I'm just gonna go ahead and see what's there. So I feel like really cozy, warm feelings inside this cabin, and I can feel the presence of an old lady that she's like knitting, like sewing something, like knitting, and she has like gray hair and some kind of glasses. She's just really nice. So I'm gonna sit down and communicate with her and see what it's about. So I asked this older lady, why am I here? And she just looked at me in a kind look and she put her knitting thing down and she said, come with me. I have to show you something. And all of a sudden, there was like stairs to go up to the second floor. And then we got into this room and she told me, go into this room. So I went into the room. There was a small bed in the corner on the left side of the room. And I sat down on the bed and I looked in front of me to the wall and I see some art. I don't really know what I'm seeing, but as I'm looking at it, I feel so much energy moving through my body. It's like incredible. Like, I don't know what I'm looking at, but I can feel like so much energy moving through my body. It feels something very like royalty or like a dragon, like a golden dragon or something. And there's some blue as well, but I don't really know with my mind. I don't really understand what it means, this art. All I know is that as I'm looking at it, I feel a lot of feelings and energy moving through my body. And I hear a voice telling me, look closely. I'm trying to almost like draw it in my mind, like go over the lines and like draw it. And the feeling I'm getting is that there's two things, like some kind of dragons. There's two of them, but they become one. It's like two creatures, but they become one. And it has all these colors and gold and blue and lots of gold, yellow, there's some green too. I feel like a very angelic presence as I'm in this room looking at this art. And there's a lot of things moving around me, but it's like really hard to like see what exactly I'm seeing. But it's like really clear that there's something here. Some things. It does feel to me like a message of integration, like integration to the whole, to the wholeness of who I am. Like it almost feels to me like there's a wholeness that I've experienced that cannot be unseen now, that is here, present. And like there's a deep sense of like feeling it. There's a deep sense of feeling it and seeing it and experiencing it. And I feel like the message here is like knowing that it's always here and continue to integrate it. Okay, so this is really good. I asked, while I'm in this room, I asked if there's anything important to know about the part of me that was afraid that closed the door, that didn't want to look at the deer. And the message I'm receiving is that you already know that, and that's something that came up for me when I really dove into fear and explored a lot of fear. And it's the fear was going to guide you to yourself if you allow yourself to go into the fear. So in the dream, I didn't really go into the fear. I just kind of I kind of avoided it and tried to run away from it. And now being able to go into that fear and just really confront it and sit with it, first of all, the first step that to realize that the fear was not actually there. There was no fear. It seemed like there's something to be afraid of, but then when I actually slowed down and consciously went into the stag, I realized that this stag just wants to call me somewhere. It's not trying to scare me or hurt me or harm me. It's just trying to call me somewhere. So the fear just vanished right away. So by me confronting the fear, going into the fear, I was able to come back to myself. And that's always been the message. Fear is there to help us guide us back to ourselves. And that myself that I'm talking about in this case is that art, is that wholeness, is that integration and that feeling of wholeness, that experience, that deep feeling sense of wholeness. And so I feel like it is important for me to collect that data because I've received it a few times, but it's just another layer of collecting that data. Yes, when like literally having an experience, another experience, because best way to learn is through experiences. And having the fear and experiencing that and going into it and experiencing that wholeness and that coming back to myself, to my wholeness, is a huge piece of thing to integrate. This is insane. Oh my God, I feel so many chills in my body. This is really important example of what dreams can hold. And of course, a lot of the times it may lead to something different. It may lead to more shadowy aspects or things that, you know, we need to look at. But for me, I could not make this up. You know, it's just all just was there and I could feel it in my body. And now I still feel a lot of like energy moving through my body. I feel a lot of like super light. And I think the message here is so important that it's something that I've received before, but it's like was another layer of like actually experiencing it on a deeper layer. And it's if I get to come back to that place that I was afraid and like really slow down and just really being able to consciously be present in the moment and see what is this fear about? What is it trying to show me? And looking into it, first of all, fear is false evidence appearing real. So realizing, okay, first step, this was a false evidence. There's actually no fear here. And a lot of the times, the realization of the false evidence can come way later in the process. But like I've said, I've worked on fear specifically. I dove into fear, explored fear a lot in the past few months. And this was just like a piece of something that kind of like just giving me like a little extra data. And going into that, I've realized like this stag was trying to call me, which is really interesting because my spirit animal is deer. So I don't know like how I didn't put the two and two together, but this deer was trying to get my attention. And it was so clear to me once I went back into the dream space and like really try to slow down and consciously be aware of what's happening without like being in a reaction state. I actually realized that this dream was trying, like this deer was trying to get my attention, was trying to call me somewhere. Like he was excited to show me something. And I was like, whoa, this is too wild. How did you get here? What is this? And that deer is also representing a part of me. When I went in there, that fear, if all it took for me to actually be with it and look at this fear, and it led me back into myself, into this, like really seeing this piece of art and really feeling of that. And it's really interesting because I saw a lot of blue and gold in the piece of art. And blue is throat chakra, which is all about speaking your truth and self-expression. And it's crazy because like at the end of the dream I had hair in my tongue, and like I was like pulling out the hair, and I don't remember what it said, but like, okay, I'm gonna read this again because this is really important, because now that I went through this, I'm like, oh, this is why the hair in my tongue came up. So hair attached to tongue. Hair represent thoughts, identity, and sometimes unprocessed emotions. Hair stuck to your tongue suggests an issue around self-expression, difficulty speaking your truth, or something unresolved in your communication that you are trying to pull out but feel attached to. So it's really interesting. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. So the when we're speaking about the throat chakra, it's all of these things, and it said attached to like thoughts, identity, and unprocessed emotions. And like me avoiding the deer and like closing the door and like I don't want to look at it. It's almost like a form of like avoidance, and avoidance is a huge pattern for me in my life. And oh my gosh, this is so crazy because there's like tons of pieces that are coming in my brain, and I'm trying to piece it together. So the attachment to the avoidance, and like it's like hiding and like avoiding and like being seen, or avoiding like really seeing and acknowledging like all of who I am, which is expressive, which is truth, which is like, this is the truth of who I am. And it's interesting because after I was avoiding the stag, that's where the hair came out, because there was like for each action there's reaction. So it almost feels like the hair in my tongue was a reaction to my choice of avoiding the stag and not confronting it. Of course, it was all unconscious. It was all a dream. And I'm really glad that it happened this way, because it came to teach me another like deeper lesson of how this attachment is not the truth, you know what I mean? It's like attached to my tongue, but it's not the truth. It makes so much sense to me after going into this process, in the like you witnessing me. It makes so much sense to me. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but it's just really interesting because like, again, the art was all blue and gold, which to me, the blue is the throat chakra, which is communication, speaking my truth. And it's me actually choosing to engage with the illusion of the fear, like engaging with, like, and choosing to go forward and not avoiding it, and not to attach to this identity of avoidant, or oh, I can't speak my truth, or I can't be expressive, or this part of me is too much. The deer, this like wild part of me is too much. Like, let me close it down. It's like almost like attachment to it, like an identity. And it's like this hair on my tongue that's like attached. And it's literally what this ChatGPT said. This is why I love working with ChatGPT. And again, if you haven't watched my previous video, go watch it, and exactly on how to do it. But yeah, this was really insightful for me. It just like feels like a huge step of the integration of the whole, which is something that I've been working on a lot lately, specifically around like the self-expression and fear of being seen and fear of speaking my truth. So I feel like all the pieces are coming together. Oh my gosh, let me know your thoughts, your comments. If you liked this video, if you would like me to make more of these, let me know in the comments below. And yeah, please share with me your thoughts. Like, if you had dreams that you were able to go back to, and like what he taught you, or you were able to interpret your dreams, and like what you've learned, and how dream interpretation has influenced your life. I'm really curious to know, so let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing, beautiful day. And I want to invite you to watch the other video and start working with your dreams, because this can be a lot of your healing work. Like, I mean, you literally just witnessed it. What happened today was a little energetic pattern that was still there, and I was able to consciously go back to it and confront it and reframe it. And this is the power of dream work. There's a lot of ways that you can heal. There's a lot of ways that you can do the inner work. And dream is a huge one for me that I love to incorporate. I hope you learned something from it. And thank you again for watching. Have an amazing day.